Welcome back to the Casual Observer, the NBA edition of this podcast. Summer League is getting towards the business end. Day 10 now live. We've got the Lakers and Warriors in the fourth quarter as we are recording. We've seen that the Grizzlies have just dismantled the Rockets in Summer League to go through to the final, I believe, tomorrow. Yes. So that's exciting. There's been a lot of fun in the Summer League, but we all know at this end of the Summer League, it's a little boring. Teams have shut down their better players and, you get 2, 3, 4 good games and they're done. So you can see the difference in the teams who are in the semi-finals as they've not shut down anyone. And it's actually quite enjoyable games to watch. There's been some selfish asshole ball. There's been some look at me, some show ponying going on. Anything to try and get noticed by these players, to make their dream a reality. But it has not made for great watching for the most part. But look, some of these blokes, especially the the top picks, they come in with a lot of pressure and they deserve to, especially just run the show and show the world like what they've got and to shut everyone up. So, I respect that. But there's been a lot of other teams that you're just like, man, you can see why some of these players are not making rosters. They only want to score, or they are traffic cones on defense, or they just got that personality that brushes people the wrong way. It's just, having had some inside chats to people that have gone coaching over there, they said, once one player starts pulling out, then the agents all talk, and then other players all pull out, and the coach of Summer League might end up with a completely different team to his game plan 10 minutes before tip-off. So it's a hard place to kind of navigate between, everyone's shooting for that top spot in the league, coaching, assistant coaching, playing, bench roles. And so you got to do anything to shine. But yeah, there's some selfish stuff that goes on that it's not so great. And that's why I really think it's good that some of the teams like Memphis and Lakers, Warriors, they actually kept their chances of one, being enjoyable to watch, but two, actually keeping some structure alive in these games, because there's been a lot of stuff that you're just like, nah, dude, I'm not here for it. I mean, Portland did the same, keeping young Hansen. Phoenix kept the same, keeping Kaman Malawak playing. Those have been the teams with a bit more structure, they've just been a bit more enjoyable to watch. And these rosters get thrown together 20 minutes basically, 3 days before they play. So you could see some of these players be horrific in their first game, and now by game 4 or 5, they're starting to look a bit better. So I think judging on, what people look like game 1 is hard. I'm guilty of it. I thought, Keaton Wagler looked pretty blah, but the game yesterday against the Timberwolves went to OT. The Clippers won 128-120, and just a fun game. You had Isaiah Evans on one side, Zakarsky versus Wagler. So Wagler ended up with 26 points, only 2 assists. I think he kind of got showed up a little bit by Padula, the point guard, who had 24, 11, and 6 steals. But you can see the improvement in Wagler, looking for a shot a little bit more, a little less of a hitch in it already. We got told he wasn't all that athletic and can definitely navigate a ball screen. He didn't look all that athletic, and his ball screen navigation already seems to not be as impressive as first told. So, I'm not as high on him. But the fact he managed to get 26 points, he's been averaging, ever since that first game, he's been a bit more aggressive. That's what you love to see. The fact that some of these guys are not using all their fouls is also good. So we're not having people at 10 turnovers, 10 fouls is awesome. But the quick summary is basically that the final is tomorrow. Right now, there's 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Warriors are up 2. Lundenberg still playing. Will Richard, Cryer, all for the Warriors, and Tiero, Cam Carr, they're all playing for the Lakers. So, close game, really fun to watch. The Grizzlies-Rockets game this morning wasn't as fun. The Grizzlies, look, they just kept their team cranking, and it's really good. When teams shut down their players and they're basically auditioning other players for, a two-way spot. But then everyone gets to look at them as well. So I don't think there's a huge amount of benefit in just shutting down players as much. Like, the season doesn't start for 3 months. These players need as much exposure and game time as possible. And so like when teams just fully shut it down on everyone, like Carter Bryant probably could have used a few more minutes. I had a few in my head, but when they just shut them, I know Johnny Furphy's injured. He probably could have done with a bit more. I know he's third year player now, but you see some of these players. Someone taking a chance on Jet Howard and putting him on their team, and Hugo Gonzalez, Baylor Scheinman having a bit more of a run, and Conwell for the Heat. Like all these players probably could do with a bit more of a run. Trey Johnson for the Wizards, and getting shut down. Like I wouldn't have said Trey Johnson played well one game. Carter Bryant played well one game. Like you want to see him do it consistently, not just he had one good game by. So I think that would be something for these teams to take a note of. Is if you've got your roster basically set, like don't audition players for other teams. Just keep your players improving. Yes, people they might get a knock here and there, but I don't think there's been a major injury at Summer League ever. And, you just like to see these players playing, getting minutes under the belt, because during the season they may not get that opportunity. But, really good for the Grizzlies to see that, Cam Boozer's playing, Max Prosper, Taylor Hendricks, Cedric Coward, Jevon Small, Tyler Burton, Meshack. They're all playing still, and they're playing decent minutes. So they're just getting exposed to a bit more confidence, like timing. And the Grizzlies are a unique example where they'll actually be playing together on the court in the actual season. So building this chemistry is not just for show. It's these are real minutes that they're going to be playing together. Boozer, Hendricks, Coward, Omax. Who else is on the Grizzlies? They've got Zach Edey and Isaiah Stewart, but they're always injured. That this is the team. So for the Grizzlies to just keep these guys rolling out there and building chemistry, it looks really good. Boozer barely has a play drawn for him, but he's a hustle guy. He's connecting. He's still working on the outside shot a little bit. 0-4 today, but he's shooting it at least. He's not Ben Simmons and shying away from it. So really, really positive to see playmaking. And just some people, they haven't got the chemistry just yet on some of the cuts, but they're getting there. Coward looks amazing. 28, 6 and 5 today, 9 of 19. And just honestly, with the little high socks, the wristband, not the wristband, the elbow band, looks like he's trying to, and he wears the number 23 jersey. It looks like he's trying to channel his inner Kawhi Leonard, Michael Jordan. I know it's only Summer League, but there was a story of one of the Ringers podcasts with Chris Vernon, and he said that he met a guy in Target, and they now call this guy Target Guy, and he said basically Target Guy recognised him and said Cedric Coward's going to be the best player of this draft. And being a Memphis fan, Vernon's like, well, the draft hasn't been yet, but look, I'd like to draft him. And he's like, you should. He's the next Michael Jordan. And I think that was a bit of an overstatement. But, he's embraced. Clearly, that word got around because he's been embraced. He's got the 23 jersey on. He looked like young Michael Jordan. I'm not saying athletically or in his game. I'm saying in what he's wearing. Some of his mannerisms are starting to change. It's like he's actively going out of his way to look like Ant Edwards, Michael Jordan. So, Cedric Coward definitely knows he's going to have to be the leader of this team into the season, along with Cam Boozer. So, they look great. They're cooking on all cylinders. Hopefully, in the final tomorrow, they go well against whoever they end up playing, which we'll find out in a tick. On the other side, look, Bruce Thornton and Tristan Newton were the two big ones, along with Knicks. They looked a bit trash, honestly. Thornton 2 of 12, Newton 2 of 10. They're down by 20 odd at one point. They never gave up, which is good. But Thornton, not my kind of player. Newton, not my kind of player. Couldn't have two more different body types for guards. Newton quite wiry and stringy, and Thornton a bit of a dump truck. But he looks like quite the traffic cone on defense. Let's just say that. He works hard. On defense, I saw a couple of plays where he's up and bodying Cam Boozer. Only problem with that is that Cam Boozer can shoot over the top, and then Cam Boozer's bigger again, so he just bullied him. So Thornton may not play too much for the Houston Rockets. He was the first pick in the second round for the Rockets, but yeah, I don't know. He's a bit undersized, not super quick and athletic. Usually a good shooter, not so much today, but yeah, just I don't know. Ime Udoka likes defense, and now you've got Reed Shepherd and Bruce Thornton in your backcourt. Fred VanVleet. Like, no one at that point guard spot's exactly a stopper. So, interesting one for Bruce and Ime. Let's see. Yes, this Lakers Warriors game is crawling to an end. 8.3 seconds left. Warriors are up by 3, 91-88. But yeah, Cam Carr 5 of 16. Tiero 6 of 6. Probably needs a few more shots. Other than that, yeah, the Warriors. Lundeberg 5 of 8. You could see like Will Richards 2 of 7, Cryers 4 of 12. Like, someone needs to shoot on this team, of course, but you could see Lundeberg's already slipped into like that Luol Deng glue guy, like just will do it all kind of role, as is Will Richards. So yeah, I quite like what the Warriors are. They've got some nice young role playing pieces. Once Steph goes, and if they don't sign LeBron this year, there's no star upside in anyone that they've drafted. Look, I did a thing on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so basically it's just me thinking of who is going to turn out the best in this draft. Of course, you've got your own opinions that can be had, but personally, I think the best player from this draft is going to be Darren Peterson. We'll just give you the top 10. Darren Peterson just looks like Kobe Bryant on the floor. He's moving around. He looks like a basketball player. He just works so smoothly. Obviously, he wants to shoot the ball, as young Kobe did. But he just, if he can play make. He had 25 and 12 in the Utah Jazz Salt Lake City Summer League. And that's with players that are nowhere near as good as who he's going to be playing with Jaren Jackson and Larry Markkinen. So, if he wants to, if he's got the right mindset and he wants to make others better, he can do it. He can definitely score at all 3 levels. He doesn't need people to make a shot for him. I hope he ends up a bit more Kobe Bryant and a little less Bradley Beal. That would be the downside of if he doesn't really switch on. Second best career, AJ DeBanza. I think starting in Washington is actually a hindrance. Having Trae Young, Anthony Davis, you ended up with Keyshawn George and Bub Carrington, Trey Johnson, Will Riley. There's one basketball. All these players need a touch. Obviously, DeBanza will get highly focused on, but I just hope that these guys don't get in his way of development and slow him down in his dominance. So I think I think he's probably the best player in this draft, but where he got drafted and who else is on the team is not as ideal as Darren Peterson at the moment. Darren Peterson, yes, he went to Utah Jazz and they've got other players, but if you've watched them at all, like Jaren Jackson and Larry Markkinen don't just chuck up shots. Keontae George doesn't. Nurkic won't. Ace Bailey might. But look, at least there's a runway for Darren Peterson to just be good off the bat. DeBanza seems like, good luck getting the ball out of Trae Young's hands, man. So that's the only reason that Darren Peterson is 1 and AJ is 2. 3, this is where people already get thrown. Darius Acuff. Got him as a third best career. Doesn't mean he's going to be the third best player, but he's on the Kings, who have no one. I imagine that the Kings will eventually get him a decent running mate, though you have no faith in the Kings organisation. But I think they nailed this pick. So Acuff can make all the mistakes he wants. He can have all the runway he wants. He will have, basically freedom, uncharted freedom, and that will speed up his development. So he will end up putting up stats and potentially making all-star teams and all-NBA teams, though I think these days people do value winning. Especially for all NBA teams. So his upside really depends on how much he can drag this roster over the next few years to some sort of relevance. But look, decent playmaker, not a great defender, good size though. But I would say a little bit of a Allen Iverson kind of Jason Kidd kind of role at the moment. Is his upside, and I forgot to say for Devanso, it's Andrew Wiggins just with that killer mentality. If you watch them both, you can see why they move the same. But Acuff, Allen Iverson, Jason Kidd, I reckon he could have the third best career. For Cam Boozer, basically a Kevin Love, Chris Paul combo, bit of a hybrid. He really wants to run the offense. So and he likes to play at a bit of a slower pace. So there's where the Chris Paul comes in, and Kevin Love, he could score at all three levels. He likes the post. He can get out and shoot the three, exactly like Kevin Love did coming out of UCLA. He's super high IQ, great leader. Doesn't demand the ball and shots. So will just fit in where he needs to. But as he grows, Memphis is clearly building around Cam Boozer, and so I think he's a winning player. He's won at every level, and therefore, would have been the safe choice for the third best career overall. But I really believe that Darius Acuff, so Cam Boozer's again, this is an amazing top 4 or 5. But Cam Boozer paired with Coward and whoever else they get in Memphis, that could be a core. Unlike Ja Moran, Desmond Bain, and Triple J, this could be a core for a long time in the future. So I would love to see, that could be a hell of a career. That could even be the best. I'd say the top 5 all have cases to be the best career in the long run. Number 5, Caleb Wilson. Did make this list before watching him explode for 35 points with 7 threes. But two-way potential. We saw it. He turned over the ball at mid-court. He's learning his craft with the ball, being a bit more of the number 1 option. Turned it over, chased it down, blocked the shot. So he's definitely got two-way potential. His shot looks so much smoother. Kind of looks like a little bit of a Kevin Garnett, Evan Mobley hybrid. If he's got that killer mentality, he's going to go way past Evan Mobley and into that kind of Kevin Garnett stratosphere. He should be the number 1 option in Chicago straight away. Chicago ended up with Nick Claxton, now obviously Caleb Wilson, Matas Buzelis, Josh Giddey. Look, I will say they've got Noah Sengay, Dalen Swain. Neither really looked all that impressive. That's just some of their draft picks so far. That Dalen Swain needs time, but geez, Noah Sengay looks horrendous. So if that New Orleans Pelicans trade was there again, where they traded up with Atlanta last year to go get Derek Queen, if I was the Bulls, if that trade was offered to me, and I had hindsight, I would have definitely taken that trade. So. I don't. Maybe Sengay, ascends, but right now, no, not for me. Braden Burries, number 6, basically a bit of a Derek White, Alex Caruso hybrid. And we are going to do a 2017 draft, which includes Derek White later. Bit of a redraft, but Braden Burries with Milwaukee. Basically, look, he's a smooth scorer. It's working on the scoring. Obviously, his jump shot needs a bit of work, but. No fear, great defender, pest, decent size, and again he's going to have a fair bit of runway in Milwaukee to kind of figure out where he's good, along with Nate Ament. Definitely, look, Nate Ament seems like a really well-spoken guy, and there has been shades of him looking a little bit Durant-y, but Ingram-y, but super light at the moment. Doesn't demand shots, so Nate Ament's definitely not as bad as I thought he was pre-draft, but definitely hasn't made this list, unfortunately. But Burries definitely has, and if he ends up with a career of, Derek White, Alex Caruso, amazing career. I think he'll just be kind of a bit of a 3rd, 4th option on a championship-winning team, but will shut down the other team's best players. So, huge heart, and always looking to get better. Number 6. Number 7, Zuby Elijah-4. Probably not saying that right, but... didn't even really know who this guy was, but after kind of watching him in the Summer League with the Atlanta Hawks, I thought the pick didn't really make sense. I think it was 21 or 23. He has really improved his outside shot. So he's quite athletic finisher, improving 3-point shot, and definitely all defensive team upside if he gets the chance to, run wild. Because at the moment, Atlanta have... what's his name? Okongwu, there we go. It'll come back. But, I think Zuby's got the chance to start over him at certain times in the next season or two. basically is the same player as Okongwu, but I would say he just looks confident and ready for the moment. So that's a surprise pick, but I think going to be extremely valuable, especially on a rookie contract for 4 years. So well done to the Hawks. Number 8, Axel Lundeberg from the Warriors, picked 11. I don't think he's going to be a star, but I think he's going to be a long-term star in his role. And you can already see that as we spoke about in Summer League. He's not demanding shots. He's kind of just been that glue guy. Easy one. Bruce Bowen, Aaron Gordon, Luol Deng kind of comps. Just a winning player, fits in with what you need. Good size, good defender, can shoot the ball, just does a bit of everything. I wouldn't say he does anything excellently, but I would say he does everything really well. So, high IQ, a little bit of an older player. Hopefully doesn't get too much Draymond Green all over him, and he'll be good to go. So he's number 8. Number 9, Keaton Wagler. A little bit higher on him now. That jump shot's improving. And I think players that don't have a huge amount of athleticism and play point guard will last longer in the league. You think of Steve Nash, even Chris Paul to a certain extent. Those kind of players where they are... look, they've got some size, but they last longer because they've had to use their mind and their bodies a lot differently to just pure athleticism. And so I think if Wagler gets the right tutelage, right exposure, and that's going to be hard when you're in LA. You've already got another point guard in Garland. Obviously, Kawhi may or may not be there. Who knows? Who knows if he gets the chance to excel? But I could see, my comp initially was, another connector, a bit of Josh Giddey. Not quite as good as Steve Nash and CP3, but even a Luol Deng fits here. Bit of a glue guy, but I think his is going to be a career that's more impressive the longer it goes. And if he can kind of make it to, year 14, 15, 16, most people's athleticism are starting to fade and they don't have the backup skills and the requisite knowledge to keep playing and excelling in this league. I think Keaton Wagler will. He's only had one way to play, which is already not super athletic. So I think he will, figure out very quickly and start learning how to beat defenses with his mind, much like LeBron has done. So again, not comparing him to LeBron, just saying he has that kind of potential to kind of use his mind more than anything. And number 10, this may have just been because I always liked this guy, but Trayvon Brazil, he got picked up by Denver, I think at 40-something or 30-something. But he's got great size and he's really worked on that three-point shot. So the other day he dropped, 30-odd? Barely had anything in the first... barely had anything in the first 7 minutes and exploded at the end of the first quarter and carried that on. So if there's ever a situation, you're playing with Jokic, Aaron Gordon's injured, Peyton Watson, we're not really sure. He might get exposed quickly and early and may make a shit ton of mistakes early, but he also has that chance to be a Jaden McDaniels type where he can just initially start off as just a main defender and three-point shooter and build up over the years, add parts to his game. You look at Jaden McDaniels now, he looks like quite a decent, well-rounded player, while 3 years ago you'd be like, Jesus, just go stand in the corner. So Brazil has that kind of upside in my mind if he can get his mental and the exposure that he needs early. So, honourable mention, of course, is Nader Ment. He turned my head for sure. I think he's just going to be too nice a guy to have that killer mentality, and that's what I think will hold him back. Adamara from OKC hasn't looked amazing yet in Summer League. Sturts hasn't looked amazing. Hunter Steinbach's looked really good. He's already gone from off the bench to now starting and looks amazing for the Hornets. So he could be an amazing pickup, and I think I drafted him in my mock at 12 to OKC. He went 14. I think OKC, look, they would love the size that Mara brings, but I reckon Steinbach is probably a bit of a miss there in the draft for them. Christian Anderson hasn't looked as good as I thought he would. Isaiah Evans really was shooting it poorly until recently. So a lot of these players the exposure will come, but you can't read into too much of Summer League. I'm sure they'll come back as second-year players next year and dominate, but I wouldn't have said the best start for some of these guys. But yeah, that's my top 10. DP, AJ, Acuff, Boozer, Wilson, Burries, Ejiofor, Lindenberg, Wagler, and Brazil. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with the 2017 redraft. Diving back in, before we do the redraft, Gary Trent. I think we mentioned it last time, but we'll mention it again. Signed a 4-year, $64 million deal with the Bucks after coming off what was his worst season since rookie. I think we flagged it last episode, basically saying that's a weird deal. Seems a bit shady. Why the hell would you do this? It's fully guaranteed, all this kind of stuff. There's been a probe put in by the NBA League office to investigate this contract in the Bucks. And I think it should be. I think it's, obviously all well and good for him to get his money, respect. But it's a little bit like cap circumvention, just like Kawhi Leonard. To come off two, basically minimum deals in a row, have a terrible year and then get a 4-year, $64 million contract. Just reeks of this was agreed upon to, help try and win with Giannis. Now he's gone. Here's your money. And I know you have to pay someone, and this gives you a very tradable contract, especially as the salary cap increases. But I don't know. This is not a good deal in today's climate with the second apron, and especially 4 years in length. If it was 2 years, $36 million, still a terrible contract, but at least it's short and sharp and tradable. 4 years fully guaranteed at 64 when you've got all these players that'll be due for contracts. You'll have Ryan Rawlins, you'll have Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez, Kelly Ware, bunch of others. To have a 4-year deal at $16 million a year, just sitting there, fully guaranteed, no team option. Just reeks of cap circumvention, and I think the league needs to clamp down very quickly on Kawhi Leonard's case and then get onto the Gary Trent one. Because if this happens, again, all well and good to get your money, but it just, let's be honest, we all work hard for money, and I'm not saying he didn't work hard, but to come off a terrible year, career lows across the board and then get paid this is, I wouldn't say it's exactly fair. And this money could have gone to a lot of other players split differently, but the Bucks can do whatever they want. It's just poor value. So basically it's left with a decision of, are you just incompetent and stupid as a franchise, or were you underhand dealing these kind of things? So we'll find that out with time. But I just wanted to add that in as that's definitely been opened up as an investigation now. So 2017 redraft. This is the Markelle Fultz, Lonzo Ball, Jason Tatum, Josh Jackson, De'Aaron Fox top 5 draft. I think we know that Markelle Fultz in a redraft is not going first. Or maybe not going at all. We'll most likely do top 10, top 15 picks and leave it there. Some mentions in the second round that were, still going. Thomas Bryant, Isaiah Hartenstein, Dylan Brooks. This was a very poor, very, very poor second round in terms of talent that's stuck in the league. I think there's 3 or 4 players at best. Obviously, look, number 1, Jason Tatum. Easy choice. Tatum goes 1, which would be, tough one. Would it be the Sixers? Would it be the Celtics? The Celtics had the number 1 pick and traded down with the 76ers, so the Sixers could get Markelle Fultz. The Celtics always wanted Tatum anyway, and they just postured like they wanted Fultz, and Tatum was clearly the number 1 pick in that draft. So let's just say he's going to go to the Celtics, because I don't think they're giving up Tatum if the 76ers didn't love Fultz as much. So Tatum goes 1. Donovan Mitchell, who went 13 to Denver, then traded to Utah. He now goes at number 2 to the Lakers. The Lakers took Lonzo Ball, but I think we can quite comfortably say Donovan Mitchell's he may not have won at the highest levels. I don't think you can win with a player like that as your best player. That's just my opinion. I think, he's consistently been a performer and contributor regular season and first round of the playoffs. So easy number 2 selection on the board. Number 3's got a lot to toss up here. I've seen a whole bunch of different mocks. There's no real wrong answer, of course, but number 3 to me, most likely has got to be Lauri Markkanen. Yes, his career started off very slow and poor, but now he's built up like 7 foot small forward, basically. He can shoot the ball, can handle the ball, can play make, can defend. We just haven't seen it because the Utah Jazz have been bad for so many years. So I would like to take the chance on a 7 foot shooter, essentially, and have him at 3. Number 4, Bam Adebayo. He went to the Heat. He still is with the Heat. Great defender. Look, still working on that defensive game, but it's still improving all the time. So with the defense like that, look, definitely get me in on Bam Adebayo. 5 would be OG Anunoby for me. Just a winning player. Great shooter from the corner. Obviously what we saw with the Knicks in the finals. Who can forget? So OG would go 6. Or 5, sorry. And 6 would be Derek White, who initially went 29th. To the San Antonio Spurs. So we're 6 there. 7, De'Aaron Fox went to the Kings. Had a pretty good career. Just had a really bad finals. This is where it gets tight now because now a lot of the good players are they're all starting to blend together. I think at 7 we will take Jarrett Allen. Jarrett Allen went 22nd to the Nets. We'll have him at 7. Josh Hart at 8. He went 30th. He's obviously smashing the finals, done well, so well done to him. Look, it's really hard at this point. I think I'd go Isaiah Hartenstein at 9. iHeart was drafted at 43. I'd have iHeart at 9 in a redraft. And at 10, look, there's some choices here. You've got Malik Monk, Luke Kennard. As we go down, you got Kyle Kuzma. Yeah, that's about it. Look, I mean, even in the top part, you got Lonzo Ball, Josh Jackson, Jonathan Isaac. None of these guys really worked out. After the year you had, you probably just to make up the 10th, really. I mean, I don't want Kuzma. You'd probably go Luke Kennard for his shooting and the fact that JJ Redick tried to, really just seemed to have found something with him and how to use him as a shooter. So, in some of these other drafts, we've basically got the same players, just in different orders. So, the hard one is really that 10th spot, but the one I'm looking at right now has Kyle Kuzma at 10 instead. So, look, it's down to what you kind of see, but I would say that's a pretty easy redraft outside of the top 10 is kind of you're getting trash, so good luck. So, Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, which way do we go? I forgot who was 3. That's incredible. Aren't we just that impressive? There we go. Lauri Markkanen, Bam Adebayo, what do we have? OG, Derek White, we had Jarrett Allen, Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Luke Kennard. So, by the time you can see, in that redraft, it's a crapshoot in these drafts. But to have, basically, out of your top 6, only 2 players that you'd actually want these days, and out of your top 10, 3, really sad. So, not a great draft. Lonzo Ball, injuries. Marco Fultz, mental. Josh Jackson, who knows, just trash. Jonathan Isaac, injuries. Ntilikina just never put it together. Dennis Smith never really put it together. Zach Collins is still going, but not really contributing much to winning. So in a redraft, we can see that they did not get it right in that draft at all. It's fun to do these redrafts, and it's always in the eye of the beholder. Winning to me and being a connector, it depends what you're looking for in the draft. If you're looking for a centerpiece, if you're looking for someone that's going to make the right plays, good personality, all these things come into it. And that's why I think it's a pretty easy redraft in terms of redrafts because, if you can get in that top 8, a Josh Hart, a Lauri Markkanen, a Bam Adebayo, De'Aaron Fox, yeah, these are players that have already proven plenty of winning, good for the locker room, and still have plenty of upside. OG Anunoby, like these are great value in the 20s, and then getting iHeart at 43, like. Whew, hell of a player. Would definitely have him in the top 10. So that's all for today. As the Warriors got up in Summer League, so we'll have a Warriors-Grizzlies final tomorrow. And as I said, once the news trickles down about where LeBron's going and Peyton Watson, we'll have plenty to talk about next time. So until then, thanks for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow. It means a lot to the team here. So thank you.